Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. We have a ton of EZA content to cover right now. We have a total of 8 Dragon Ball Heroes EZAs, and I'm going to be starting off with Super Saiyan God Trunks. Unfortunately, I am missing 2 of the EZA units, being Pan and Mechikabura. But either way, we move. We still have content to make. He has no dupes in him. I only managed to pull him last year, and it was the one time. And another thing, all of these Heroes EZAs won't be at level 10 links. So Trunks is very much bare bones. And this is going to be him at his pretty much bare minimum. We are rocking the full Heroes team, although with Trunks, you can either run Heroes units or Time Travelers to get all of his extra buffs from his passive, which is nice. We are starting a turn with a 459k attack stat, 168k defense. And let's pick up some orbs with him and see what he can do. So Trunks is starting with the turn with key +1, attack and defense plus 50% per Heroes or Time Travelers category ally on the team. It just all depends which category has more units. We've gone with a full Heroes team, so he's getting a full, what, 300% attack and defense, 350. And also we're getting a full key +5 or key +6, 9.7 million attack stat to start with. Which, I'm not going to lie, for a Heroes unit, which they're not on the same level as like a Dokkan Fest EZA or Dokkan Fest in general. They're kind of somewhere between side EZAs or like the good side EZAs and Dokkan Fest EZAs. They're kind of somewhere in between there, or some of them are. So for Trunks to pull out like almost a 10 million attack stat on his first super attack, I don't mind that. I'm not going to knock that. To me, that's not too bad. For me, that's decent. Especially considering he's at 55% and also not level 10 links. He then raises his attack and defense by 50% for one turn on super. As you notice, he also has guaranteed seal where you can take advantage of it. He then gains an additional attack and defense plus 100% and a 70% chance to crit on super, which is nice. Kind of helps with the damage he's doing. He then gains an additional defense plus 50% on super and will randomly change key spheres of a certain type to rainbow key spheres if all allies attacking in the same turn are Dragon Ball Heroes or Time Travelers category characters. He will then have 2 built-in additionals, each which have a 50% chance of becoming a super attack if all allies or Dragon Ball Heroes or Time Travelers category units are attacking in the same turn, which of course we're on a full Dragon Ball Heroes team. That's going to happen. And it also brings Xenojeets with me as well, just to be able to use his support and have like a couple extra links active. I know we haven't done a video on him just yet, but he is going to be chilling in slot 3, so we ain't going to be noticing him all too much. But I think overall, what I notice from these EZAs, which is kind of usually the case, it's usually the trend and pattern when it comes to Heroes EZAs, are they're good. And they are pretty good for the standard Dokkan kind of have them at. However, and I said this when we went over all of the Heroes EZAs for the first time, a lot of these units are going to age very quickly. How much is going to do? We've got 2 50% attack and defense raises on super. He still took 202k. And this is what I'm saying. A lot of these units, they're good for the immediate. They're good for right now. They're good for this celebration. They're probably going to be good for whatever content they release for the Hero Celebration. Mainly being that new story event they dropped, which I thought would have been like a challenge event, considering they said it was difficult. Unless that's something completely different. And I've kind of got them mixed up. Could be the case. You'll have to let me know down in the comments. But they'll be good for the Hero Celebration. And then unfortunately, from what I'm seeing, a lot of them are going to age very quickly. And they're probably going to age out way quicker than they've ever aged before. Just because of how difficult the content is right now in Dokkan and how the bar has kind of moved. The bar has shifted. The bare minimum, the lowest you can be to be considered good, is a lot higher than it used to be. So I do think that's a shame. I would have preferred if they made these EZAs a hell of a lot better. I'm not talking like new best in the game, but a lot better than they actually are. So they do not age quickly. So their shelf life is a lot longer. And essentially they're not aging like milk. Like, Trunks was one of the headlining units, what, 2, maybe 3 years ago for Heroes? And don't get me wrong, he's solid. From what I'm seeing, he's very much solid. He puts out good damage for, like, the caliber of unit he is. And I get it. This is one of the hardest events in the game. But every decent EZA, every Dokkan Fest, every LR, every LR EZA, even some good side EZAs, they can handle this stage of Supreme Magnificent Battle very easily. That was only the tech phase. We were only, what, the second phase in? That's not even the difficult part of this stage. And again, I understand that these Heroes units, they have a level, right? But it would have been nice, especially with this being the final Heroes celebration, if they were a bit better. Kind of go out with a bang. Like, he's putting out good numbers. 10 million on a Heroes unit's pretty decent. If you add dupes, I mean, I've actually seen what a EZA Trunks Rainbowed can do damage-wise. You're looking at like 13 million on his first super attack. And then the potential of 2 additionals. He easily got up to, I think, 14, 15 million. With all the 50% attack and defense raises he gets on super attack. So he can do damage. And also, as I said, with dupes, and I've seen it while I was doing the EZAs, like the EZA grind, he can actually do some very good damage. Again, especially if he does get all of his super attacks off. The total amount of damage he can do in one turn is actually really good. Like, it's really impressive. While all are having a 70% chance to crit on each of them before you factor in dupes. He can do a ton of damage. Defensively, though, from what I'm seeing, he doesn't have enough. Like, it's all well and good. He just tanked normals for double digits, but he does have type advantage. So I do think a few of the harder enemies in the game, or at least the majority, Trunks will be able to tank double digits on normals. I think if any super attack hits him, he's either going to survive and you have very little HP, or you just straight die. I don't think Trunks has enough in his kit to help him in the difficult content that truly matters to everyone, where they're testing all these new units. I think damage-wise, he's good. I mean, we're kind of used to units doing these kind of numbers now. But it's good, again, for the Heroes units and the Heroes EZAs. However, I think defensively, I don't think he has enough. Who does he link better with? Because I'm about to slide him in slot 1. Just to see how he tanks with type advantage against Goku without him super attacking. Let me quickly see this. Just don't super him. I want to see how much he takes on a normal. 139k. I get it. He's not supposed to be in slot 1. So that's a little bit unfair. But 139k, as I said, he just doesn't have enough. There's no dodge. There's no guard. There's no damage reduction. He doesn't have enough sheer stats. Even for the type of EZA he is and how good Heroes units typically are. He doesn't have enough sheer stats to be considered good enough, in my opinion. Like, I'll be real, as I said, he seems like a fun unit. You can super attack a ton. He can do good amounts of damage. Again, I've seen what he can do at Rainbow when he super attacks like 3-4 times, especially if the hidden potential system kicks in. But that's kind of all he's got going for him. And don't get me wrong, he can do a good amount of total damage. As I said, you're looking at 3, maybe 4 super attacks when it comes to the potential system, and a 70% chance to crit from his passive each time. However, that's kind of all he can do, unfortunately. He doesn't have enough defense to tank with just sheer stats. Normal-wise, fine. But then I expect most of the units we're going to be using to be fine to be able to tank normals in the hardest content in the game. But other than that, as I said, I don't think they've given him enough. I said there's no dodge, there's no damage reduction, there's no guard, there's no build-up of any of it, of any sorts. There's no support. It's just big numbers. And even then, he doesn't have enough defense going by sheer stats to help him get through the difficult content. I think he's solid for what he is. But other than that, I don't think he's too great outside of kind of his level, his lane, if you will. Like, stay in your lane, bro. So yeah, I think he's solid for what he is. I don't think he's good enough, though. And it's a shame that a lot of these Heroes units are probably going to age very, very quickly. And we probably won't be using them, I was going to say in like a couple months' time, probably in a couple weeks. I think the only one who can be used outside of the short lifespan that all of these EZAs have is probably EZA Meki Kabora. But unfortunately, I don't have, because he has no restrictions in his passive. He's not tied down to heroes or another category, and he looks very good, and you can use him elsewhere with some of the new extreme units we have in the game. But Trunks, as I said, he's solid for what he is, and that's kind of about it. Don't have too much else to say about it, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments and what you're feeling and thinking over the heroes EZAs. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a great day, and peace.